What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and this video is going to be probably a bit short this week, but I think it's going to be a fun one nonetheless because it's always good when us runners, we can complain about stuff. So I came across an article in lifehacker.com, and the article is titled "The Easiest Ways to Waste Money on Running According to Reddit." So obviously I'm going to want to hear from you. I am going to want to hear the worst ways that you have wasted your money on running. Let's get into it. Well, my friends, this is also the weekly running and training vlog where the main purpose of this video is for you to tell me about your week of running. I want to hear about successes, definitely want to hear about those setbacks. In fact, I probably want to hear about the setbacks more than usual because this whole video is about setbacks, wasting our money. It's horrible and it happens. Okay, so I'm going to go over the most popular things. It's in the Lifehacker article, and of course I will link to it in the show notes below. They have taken the most popular things that the Reddit stream came up with. And the first one is shoes that don't work for you. How many of you have bought a pair of shoes and they just don't work? Whether they don't feel good or they don't fit right, and for some reason you didn't or you can't send them back. So for me, my best example of this is this shoe. You see this? I paid full price for this, $250. It is the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Plus. And if you remember, ASICS came out with what type of runner are you? Choose a specific shoe to match what type of runner. So I went through the instructions and I came up with me being a Sky Plus runner rather than an Edge Plus runner. And it turns out that I am probably an Edge Plus runner more than a Sky Plus runner. I don't even remember what the difference was. Something about stride and cadence. I don't remember what I am, but it's not this one. Or maybe it is this one, but this shoe just didn't work for me taking it out on long runs. Now, it works fine when I go out for a quick speed workout. I can do intervals, I can go out for a short tempo in it, but when I start building the mileage, the Sky Plus just did not work for me, even though it feels good underfoot. I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think the drop is just too low in the Sky Plus for me. I think it's a 4mm drop. And for a marathon shoe, which is what I was hoping to use this shoe for, it just doesn't work for me. And I know I've had this shoe for a year now, so I can't send it back. I wish I could try the Edge Plus. I've wished it for the entire year, but I am not going to spend another $250 to find out. And guys, I'm sure that this is something, buying a pair of shoes that doesn't work for you, I'm sure it is something that a lot of us can fall into. Because I, like you, when I want to buy a new pair of shoes, I'll go online and I'll look at reviews. I also review a lot of running shoes, so I'm sure that some of you come to me and you want to hear what I say about these shoes. But that doesn't always mean that they're going to work for you. And for me, this is one of the most expensive things that I have spent money on that in hindsight was a waste of money. The next most popular thing on the Reddit stream that people thought was a waste of money was, and this is quite an all-encompassing area, but it's gear that solves problems that don't actually need to be solved. So some of the examples that are provided are a foot pod to corroborate the readings when you're running on a treadmill. Is that something that you really need? Do you need that extra piece of tech when you have the treadmill giving you the data? Now, a lot of you that use a foot pod for the treadmill are going to argue yes. You're going to say, Matt, I want that information, I want it to be precise, and I need the foot pod to do it. But I have to think that there's a lot of you out there that don't really care if your run on the treadmill is 2/10 of a mile short or long than it actually is, right? You're still putting in the work. Do you need to spend a couple $100s extra in order to get that precise measurement? Maybe, maybe not. Other answers were armbands to hold your phone, water bottles, hydration packs. One person bought a pair of shorts. Now this doesn't seem like much, but shorts can be very expensive. They bought a pair of shorts and they realized they only like running in lanes. And then we've got the whole thing of how much gear do we actually need to run in? I know that me personally, I probably have, 10 pairs of running shorts, and I know which shorts I gravitate to more than others. So in reality, I could probably get rid of a few pairs and still be happy with what I have, which tells me I probably could have saved some money on those running shorts too. The next thing that people waste their money on is very closely related to the first thing. So it's shoes that don't work for you, but this one is super shoes. You've all heard it, how super shoes can make you run faster. They can make your performance just that much better. Well, turns out that doesn't work for absolutely everyone. And now we are lucky or unlucky to have so many different super shoes out there that it's likely that they're all not going to work for you. Let me remind you, $250 for this pair of ASICS Metaspeed Sky Plus, and they just did not work for me. Now you might be wondering, Matt, why don't you get rid of them? Why don't you just sell them? And that's because I am a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. I don't want to get rid of them because I don't want to give them away for a ridiculously cheap price when I have spent so much money on them. Can anyone understand that? I know how ridiculous it is. These shoes could probably make someone very happy. Anyway, the next thing that people seem to not like or feel they've wasted money on is gear that attempts to protect them from the elements. So that could be a waterproof jacket that doesn't keep you waterproof. I think somebody mentioned something in the article about buying waterproof socks and their feet were still soaked at the end of their run. Oh, and back to the jacket. Jackets are a tricky thing. You can buy a jacket to keep you dry from the wet, but a lot of times if that jacket is waterproof, it's not entirely breathable or not as breathable as a non-waterproof jacket, so you end up getting wet from the inside out. So there are a lot of other things that you and I can buy that we might think are a waste of money. I remember years ago, this is the stick. You put this on your legs and you roll it out. And I was at an expo, I think maybe Palm Beach, years ago. I'm talking 10 years ago. And I thought this was the best thing ever. I just couldn't believe it. This was long before we had all these fancy recovery tools. And then a couple of years passed and I saw it again at an expo and I bought it and I don't know how much I paid, $50. But I never use this thing. Occasionally I'll feel bad and I'll go into my cupboard and I'll grab it out and I'll rub it over my legs. But honestly, I just do it because I'm feeling bad that I have it and I'm not using it. The same thing goes with massage guns. How many of you have a massage gun? Now, I'm lucky enough because this one was sent to me for the purpose of review and I do actually use this thing. But if I had paid for it, I don't use it enough where I would think this was worth me buying. Now, I really enjoy it when I do use it, but the thing is, I don't use it that much. And the same thing goes for foam rollers. I have several foam rollers that I have bought, and no matter how much I try, I think every couple months I talk about it on my videos, like I'm really gonna try and foam roll. It just doesn't happen. It's not going to happen again. I have to accept that it's probably not gonna happen at this point. So I am committing to you today, right now, I'm not buying another foam roller. Ever. The 3 that I already have are going to have to do me for the rest of my life. I think I can probably make it. Another running thing that I have wasted my money on, and it's not a lot of money, but it's this thing. This is a night splint. So I put it on my foot because I had plantar fasciitis, and I already had another boot that was a little more than this. In fact, it was like a full boot, and that worked, but it was so big and cumbersome that I wanted something small and light, and I read the reviews on Amazon, and I bought this thing, and I liked that it was pink, but you know what? It's a piece of junk. And it probably only cost me $15 or $20, but because it is so bad, I still feel bad that I wasted money on it. Like, even if it's just a very small amount of money, I feel bad that I spent money on that, and I don't use it because it doesn't work. Oh, and of course there are race entries, and of course we've been coming through COVID-19 when a lot of races were cancelled and those races switched to virtual options. And honestly, I think the novelty of running a virtual race went away pretty quickly. I had no desire to run a virtual race. And I'm sure a lot of you that did run a virtual race felt bad because you're still paying the same amount of money to run a virtual race as you were going to pay for the in-person race. And then there are times when we get injured and we can't actually make it to the race. And not only have we put in the time, our time is worth something too, but I think that's easier to get over than actually spending money on the race entry or flights or rental car or hotel, stuff that you can't get back. And then you don't do the race and you've lost all that money. You have wasted all that money on running. And then if you do actually get to the race, right, you haven't wasted your money and you're excited, you're going to go out and you're going to run the race. You walk through the expo and then you're bombarded with all these other cool things that you need to buy. You know what I'm talking about? The t-shirts, the jackets. I have run 8 Boston marathons and I have bought the jacket at each of those races. And how many times have I worn those jackets, those 8 Boston Marathon jackets? Less than 8 times. I am pretty sure there are some Boston Marathon jackets that I haven't actually worn. In fact, this one from this year's race in 2023, I tried this jacket on when I bought it, and this is actually the first time that I'm putting it on after that. Now we're getting into summer here in Florida and it's very unlikely I'm going to need this jacket. So it's going to go back into my closet with the other Boston Marathon jackets for me to gaze upon my collection. And I do have to be honest with you, although these jackets are a waste of money, I don't look at them and think I wasted money on those jackets. I'm actually pretty happy that I have them. I would rather give away my medals from the Boston Marathons that I've run rather than these jackets. But maybe that's a story for another time, how attached people get to their medals. Okay, I want to hear from you. I want to know what running things you've wasted your money on. Take this off. See, I didn't even bother unzip it. I just pulled it over my head. All right, let's keep that down there. And I had a pretty good week of running, actually. It started off on Monday with 10 miles total, but I did break it up into 2 5-mile runs. Now, both 5-mile runs were very easy. I just broke it up into 2 5-mile runs because I was taking some B-roll of some shoes. And Tuesday was my first workout day of the week. I ran a total of 10.2 miles. Started off with 2 miles, very easy. Then I did 800s with 400 meters recovery in between. And then I cooled down for 2.1 miles right at the end. But something funny happened, and I don't know why this happened, but clearly right in the middle of my intervals I wasn't paying attention. I didn't take the break when I needed to. I was wearing several watches and I didn't feel the vibration of the watch that I was using to track the intervals on my wrist, so I missed it. And I noticed the vibration when my next interval was starting. So instead of messing the whole thing up, I decided to just do one long interval there in the middle. So really I did 6 800s with 400 meters recovery, and then I did one 1.25 mile interval. A little messed up. but it worked. Wednesday was my day off from running, and then on Thursday was my next workout day of the week. Knocked out 8.1 miles total, warmed up for 2 miles, did 5 miles at tempo pace, and then cooled down for 1.1 miles. Friday was 11.15 miles, nice and easy, and then again on Saturday, very easy run, 11.7 miles, just cruising. Didn't have to wake up early on Friday or Saturday, so those runs were a little later after the sun came up. And to be honest, I like running early, but it's always nice when I get to sleep in and not be woken up by my alarm, you know what I mean? Sunday I was also able to sleep in, and on Sunday I knocked out 10 miles, but maybe just a tad over 10 miles. But most of it was easy, but I did 9 30-second pickups with 30 seconds recovery in between. And I think this sort of week is how my long week is going to be going through the summer when I'm really not training towards anything. But whatever, that last run brought my week's total to 61.17 miles, which is about 98.44 kilometers. So all in all, a pretty good week. Guys, don't forget to let me know about your week of running, and also definitely let me know what you have wasted money on running wise. We've all wasted money on loads of stuff throughout our lives, but specifically running. Let me know. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days. Oh, and if you did make it to this point, it's pretty good if you have. If you did make it to this point, why don't you drop the little money with wings emoji in the comments so I know that you made it all the way to the end. See ya.